as one body of people. And they didn't think they was no better than the animal. Just that they had a certain function and the animal had a certain function. You see? And that's why the beast can go and kill 60 million buffalo and kill up all the whales and kill up everything. He is not the beast because he's got his foot in our behind. He is the beast because he has no respect for humanity, period. When it comes to nature or anything. Even the cosmos. You see what I'm saying? The ozone layer. Even the cosmos, life, period. He has no respect for one thing, himself, as an individual, not even his own white people. He would be a real humane if he cared about them. He don't care about them, nothing but money and how he can exploit anything. And we must get off this money kick, because this money kick is going to be the death of us. Because we understand that we have to have the utility to go, like I said, to go to work, and we have to have money to survive. But it shouldn't be the measurement of our humanity. Right now, black people's manhood and womanhood is based on how much money we can make. You see what I'm saying? How much money we can make. We need to get out of this. You know? So there's several books, but going back to this cycle, there's some stuff in Massey's book, in the book called Natural Genesis, which is his second book. And it says, and he said the Egyptians kept astronomical observation and records of the last 630,000 years. Now you need to write that down, 630,000 years. This statement appears to frighten Mr. Massey, who remarks in Natural Genesis that we read the number of the month in which the Exodus said the Egyptians term that would still yield the length of 2 cycles of a procession, or 51,776 years. I'm just saying, we all at a loss on what's really going on with this whole time thing. So I'm telling you to write these numbers down and somehow get to work and try to come up with some stuff. And Dionysius' lectures carries the astronomical calculations of the Egyptians to 48,863 years before Alexander the Great. Martellus Capella corroborates the same by telling precisely that the Egyptians secretly studied astronomy for over 40,000 years before they imparted the knowledge to the rest of the people outside of Kemet, to the world. And Quasi talks about that. He said that the Egyptians studied the astronomy for over 40,000 years. You know. Now she's saying that his book, Natural Genesis, I have 2 books on order for $75 when they come in. I'm going to get them. And she says that his books is a great basis for her books, The Secret Doctrine. Her name is Maine Blavatsky. You can get The Secret Doctrine. She has another one called Isis Unveiled. Please take European scholarship with, with a grain of salt, because they say things up in there. You understand? We understand that they're only Europeans, and we must use what we know is right to liberate ourselves. And the rest of the stuff, we can't take everything literal. We've been stuck in doing that with the Bible. You understand? So take stuff with a grain of salt. And she has a lot of stuff in here that you can watch. But in falsehood, there's truth. And the people always put truth with falsehood. It's just when you know what time it is and how knowledgeable you are, you can pick out the truth. Now get this. This is the point. Plutarch, which was an Egyptian, which was a Greek, wrote a lot of stuff on the mystery system. This is what Plutarch said, quoted. His life of Sulla, saying one day when the sky was a serene, a sound was heard in it, of a trumpet so loud it was shrill and mournful that it affrightened the world. The Tuscan or Tuscan sages that said, and check this out, that it pretended a new race of men and the renovation of the world. See, this is an ancient thing, and they're talking about a new race of men. Who the hell is a new race of men? That's the white man. And it said that they affirm that there are 8 several kinds of men, well, we can take it with a grain of salt, and being of different life and different manners. and that heaven had allotted each its time, which was limited by a circuit of a great year, 25,868 years. See how the cycle is? See, time is not linear, but time is secular, or circular. Right? And based upon the cycle, this is how things change. That's why we're all confused about how we're going to get out of this mess. You see, we think time is linear. You see what I mean? And we think of this spook God, and we just out there, just ignorant, don't know our behind from a hole in the ground, and we don't understand. But they're talking about cycles, and they're talking about cycles, and when you deal with that, and there's a book you can get, it's called A Brief History of Time. Got the cat's name, Brief History of Time. I know Carl Sagan, which is an astronomer, that said the Dogon got their knowledge from the Europeans. He did the introduction. But anyway, you can get Civilization of Barbarism, and I can't think of the chapter, but you can call Dr. Charles Finch, and he can tell you the chapter that if you read it before you read the beginning of the book, it will blow your mind. And he said that Diop always talked about remember the future. So our past is the future. And if you don't know where you've been, you don't know where you're going. You understand how it goes? So what we're trying to do is get back to Egypt. And there was a guy by the name of John Anthony West who wrote a book, The Serpent in the Sky, had an article in a magazine recently, I can't think of the name of the magazine. He said, how can we return back to Egypt? How can we make Egypt come back? See, these monks know what's going on. Back to the future. And this is how the cycles do go. When we failed because we were doing a little, some sometimes came when Egypt deteriorated and our people ran a little rampant. And when the cycle came, we went out. And just like my brother Robert Calloway said, that he believes that when it happens, it's going to happen just like that. You see? So we got to be ready for that. Now, this gets to the point that we need to think, we need to look about when we talk about the New World Order. And run by secret societies of the world. Number one, run by what the white Masonic orders with the pyramid structure going on up into the regular brothers and sisters, the white brothers and sisters, and up into the big boys that's in the Illuminatis and the elite power in a pyramid circle. See, their power goes in a pyramid, whereas it's upside down pyramid, isn't it?
As far as riches.
As far as riches.
Right.
Where all the people got the money and only a few of them don't. And ours to go in a right side up, where all the people don't have money, but a few people do. You see. But this is a pyramid structure too also, this right side up, where you got all these people in secret society, but not all of them are in on what's going on. But at the top, the elite top, they know all of this science. They got it right there in the doggone British, the nucleus. They got it right there in the British Museum and all over the museums all over the world. They said that the
museums in Europe.
In Europe. We have, they said that the Rockefellers have one of the biggest Egyptian artifact collection in the world. And they said one of the next one is in Russia. And I told them, they said they got a building in Russia, big as the AU Center Library, with nothing but books on nothing but Egypt. So they know this stuff. And that shows you that the black Masons, the so-called Prince Hall, there's 2 million of them in the United States. Now 2 million people, if they had the right knowledge, would have been out of this stuff yesterday.
Long time ago.
So that lets you know. And what happened, let me explain to you what happened. They couldn't use the Dogon ritual, which is the ritual that the Masonic Lodge operate on. It's a ritual. It's a book that tells you all the stuff. They had to use their own ritual, and there's a guy by the name of Dobbs wrote a black ritual called Dobbs. And they just recently, in a couple of years, I don't know how many years, maybe a couple, started using the Dogon ritual. That is a ritual. But the ritual is just the ritual. That's the same thing we do in the church. We're in the ceremony of it, symbols without substance, but we don't understand the principles behind it in the real science. And right here in the 3rd degree, they talk about a star. Even after the symbolic resurrection has taken place, we are still warned that any light which can penetrate the lower planes is but darkness visible, and that for true light and fuller information, we must lift our eyes to a bright morning star whose rising brings peace and salvation to the fruitful and the obedient of men. There is no doubt that in myth as taught in ancient Egypt that the star which reference was made in these terms was originally Sirius. This is in the third degree. We not, you understand? Do you know the black Masons, they don't even know what the hell it is. And they say in every lodge, Albert Pike writes about this in his book, Morals of Dogma. In every lodge, there's a brighter star. Go into the Fox Theater, which used to be the Grand Temple Shrine, and then later on built the theater. If you look up in the top where where you go in and see the shows, they got stars up there. And at one point, they got a star that's bigger than the other ones. What is Sirius? The brightest star in the constellations. You see? They know what the hell they're doing. Check it out. An association with these ideas with the dog star is undoubtedly a fragment which has come down from ancient Egypt for the rising Sirius, marking the beginning of the inundation of the Nile, which literally brings salvation to the people of Egypt, irrigating the land, enabling them to produce food. This was a very important star. It gives life to the earth. Since the Nile Valley is the source of the earth, they knew what the deal is. Now, this is a part that's in the third degree. It says, let a star be ever before your eyes, and let its light illuminate your heart. Follow it as did the wise men of old, until it leads you into the gateway of initiation, where it shines above the porticos of the glorious temples, eternal in the heavens, which King Solomon was but a symbol. He was just but a symbol. And King Solomon is the basis of Western Masonry. He was but a symbol. Star David, which is two inverted pyramids. You see? So, we understand what's going on now. They are into what's going on. Now look at this. This is in Christianity Before Christ, page 183. Our solar system, with all its planets and moons, describe a huge circle around another sun in space, the star Sirius. The movement takes 25,920 years. I'm giving you different dates to register this stuff with. I done gave you 3 or 4, 5 different dates already. To complete, during the same time, our sun to traverse through the various clusters of constellations of star clusters, which was already known in ancient China, ancient Mexico, ancient Babylon, and ancient Egypt. You see, that's the basis. This is the key to what's going on and the key to these cycles. You see, the key to these cycles. Now, how do we know that these cycles are among us? How do we know that this stuff is happening today? If you get the Black Collegian, I think it was May or something, it's called the Black History the Black History Edition. Ivan Van Sertima talking 3 issues back. Ivan Van Sertima is talking on the Dogon. And he said that the Dogon used to do the sacred dance each year and plot the orbit of Sirius, Osiris. They stopped doing the dance in 1990. That's ironic that it's 10 years before the year 2000. See what I'm saying? The year 2000. Now the Dogon are serious about what they're doing, and they don't do stuff just to be doing it. And if you're doing something, it's a tradition, a 700-year-old tradition, why in the devil are you just gonna quit? No, that's the Dogon tribe in Mali, in West Africa. Why are you gonna quit? You see? Why would they quit 10 years before the millennium is up? You see? And then all of a sudden, they got all these doggone shows on Millennium and all showing the Dogon. They got shows on the rainforest people in South America that's being wiped out. You see? And you notice that the white man is so-called becoming more humane in his knowledge of things with the New Age movement and all of this stuff, and we're becoming more ignorant. Remember, I told you that they went through barbarism in the caves. We went through barbarism in slavery. Slavery was orientation for a people that has been beat down to the level of the beast, providing we have knowledge. In the Virginia State Representative in 1863, it said, damn, when we look like we're losing this war, or whatever, it said, look like we're losing this war, 1864 or something like that. They said, what we gonna do? Because thinking in their mind, they said, these people might rise up and come against us. And there was a guy from the House of Representatives said, hey, you ain't got nothing to worry about. He said, we have closed all avenues in the slave mine in which light can travel. We are not sure, but if we are sure, he will be nothing but like that of the beast of the field. You see what I mean? So this was our barbarism. You see what I mean? This was our barbarism. All of a sudden, he's taking the science. You go to the New Age movement, he is taking our science and they're running with it. But the problem is, they buying time. They buying time. Now, the next part comes, well, how can you tell? The next part comes, in 1987, they built the IBM building with a pyramidal structure. And since then, they have put up 4, 5, or 6 buildings with pyramid structures, obelisks, and temples. Right across the street from the Peachtree Plaza, you got one building, beige building with 2 temples on it. 2 pylons. I told you, remember the pylons. 2 temples. This is a book. Now, I'm going to tell you some books to get. This is a book called Ancient Egypt, The Serious Connection by Murray Hope. She's from England. Isn't it funny that the English cracker that started all this was one of the main people. He's more civilized than anybody now. You see what I mean? He's used all his knowledge to sit up and now he's arrogant as hell. But remember now, we didn't need no book to do nothing. It was already in us, and it's still in us. But he has to use scriptures and all kinds of stuff. That's why he's steadfast and speaking to the word. To the word. Let me show you this. This is called, it's in Syrian Heritage. Now, this stuff is written in the British Museum and is translated from some ancient stuff, so you gotta bear with it, and I gotta go real slow, because the words I'm trying to say is all this whole, but there's a part before this. Rendering the quote of Manetho concerning the Syriac land. Remember now, Manetho is the one who gives you your Egyptian or your Kemetic chronology. He was one of the priests that was commissioned by the Greeks to write the history, whether he gave them all of it or whatever. But when they came to him, they said, well, what's up with all this? He said, look, I know the history of the world. And he was reading from a book called Sophist, Sirius. And all of a sudden, they say the book has now disappeared. The same Egyptologist that I said that was in the University of Michigan told my friend, he said, look, they got papyrus in the bottom of the British Museum that they don't let nobody look at. You understand? So when we see stuff disappearing, we know it's in private collections. And we know that the people that have these private collections are rich enough to be with the World Bank, you understand? With the Bilderberg Group, and all of that, you see. And it says, the astronomical science of the Egyptian conspicuous solar system near our own, represented in the heavens by the brilliant star Sirius, was of supreme interest. Cycles of eminent importance were determined by it and entered into the highest mysticism of the Egyptian mystery system. Egyptian mystery system. It's got a 7 beside it, which is giving you where it came from, and it's coming out of the book Christ Great Hermes. And in this book, they talk about Plutarch, and it has a whole chapter on the Egyptian mystery system in this book. Now, look at this. It says, it is surely logical to assume that Egypt was Manetho's Syriac land. So Manetho talks about this Syriac land. Now I'm going to go into it, and you got to stick with me because I'm going to what's happening today. Talk about this Syriac land. Surius, Sophist, according to Greek tradition. Now let's look at this. Remember what I said, what's downtown. Mead, G.R.S. Mead, Christ Great Hermes, this book, refers to the noun records in ancient times of being self-registered by pyramids obelisks, and temples. You see, they're talking about this Syriac this Syriac technology of the Syriac building structures is going on. You see, and so in this stuff, you build your buildings based around the cycle of Sirius. Based around the cycle of Sirius. And in one part, it talks about, let me get this, it talks about writing, inscriptions, traditions, and nationalities. And the name of that, this is a papyrus, this Mead quotes this stuff from a papyrus in the British Museum, and it's called Syriac Monuments. You see. And it's saying that you do this, you build all of this stuff, temples, obelisks, and pyramidal structures based on the cycle of Sirius. And we know that downtown, since this is the new city for the New World Order, downtown is full of temples. Now let's look at this. You got the step pyramid of Saqqara. That's the building that with all the things that lights up and then the rays shoot out. Right? On down you have the Nation Bank building where you got a pyramid and then you got a gold obelisk on top of the pyramid. You go on down to the IBM building, was built in 1987, the first one, and it's a pyramid, and it has a little small temple on the top.
And it's on the highest elevation in the city.
Right. It's supposed to be the tallest building. Then you go right across the street, they done built two more buildings. They got one with clusters, look like ice castles, up, it shapes into a pyramid. He really arrogant now. And then they got a new one they building, they just put the top on it. Last week or 2 weeks ago, it's got another pyramid. If you go to the Bobby Dodd Stadium, that's Bobby Dodd, Georgia Tech, right? They got a pyramid on each one. And they say you can go to the top of the Southern Bell building and look down and you will see all kind of pyramids all over Georgia Tech. And Georgia Tech is Georgia, it's a technical college. You understand with technology? So you understand that this is the land of the New World Order. And you understand that this, they're not building this stuff. Why all of a sudden in 1987 up to that all the buildings you build got temples and obelisks and pyramids? If you ain't ready for a cycle change. And it says right here in the book that you build the buildings based on the cycle. And remember now, you got all the old cities, but so you have to have a new structure. You got to have a new monumental structure, a new government, a new monetary system. You understand? New everything. Because they're trying to buy time. They're trying to buy time.
The Chronos complex.
Right. And they talk about it in here, the chronological monuments or whatever. And they're trying to buy time. So they're messing up the chronologies with these Egyptologists. That's why Asa Higgin and them went to Dogon University of Chicago, him and some woman, and they slaved people up there. Slaved them. And I'm saying, no, them people ain't doing. It's just a certain amount of things that they can't say. We don't have, what, one woman Egyptologist, Addie Brown? You can get her works in Maulana Karenga's Hemmitt book. The second one, the reconstruction and restoration or whatever. Of Hemmitt. And what? Right. Two of them. It was two of them because it was another one. One of them teaches hieroglyphics. Right.
In New York.
In New York. Right. So we understand. And like I said, when you go, if you make the qualifications, they don't have the kind of grants. So they control all of this. And I know this because I look at all the books from the University of Chicago, and none of these books use Massey. None of them use them. Nobody used Massey. But yet my man Bruce Williams, that did the find from Kusta, the first monarchy, he came down to the University of Chicago, and my boy walked up to him and said, yo, what about Massey? Oh, he said, oh, we have tons of work of Massey we even have works of Massey that people don't have in the University of Chicago. They purposely take stuff and don't put stuff in the bibliography. And you see what about this woman here? I told you that this is the woman, Mary Hope. Now look at this, because I'm going to round stuff up. Look at this. This woman, Mary Hope, that gives you Ancient Egypt, the Serious Connection, she has a whole book on a whole section on the goddess segment. And the goddess segment, as well as the goddess Hathor, stone bowl ass kickers. They kick that ass. But they are kicking that ass in the line of divine. So what it's saying when they do this, what it's saying when they do this.
Now, when you say kick that ass, let me put that in. Let me just add this. So
Right.
the ass represents Typhon.
Typhon.
Set.
Typhon.
So when you kick an ass, you're kicking.
And the white man
you're
is
kicking
what?
Set.
Set's people.
Set's
British
people.
Hieratic Papyrus of the British Museum. The devil is Set's people.
Set's people.
Do not travel too far by yourself. These people are murderous, quarrelsome, and irreprehensible sex act. They are the god of confusion. They are Sethian people. The white people. This is in the Hieratic Papyrus of the British Museum, Chester Beatty Papyrus. You can get, I'll tell you where you can get fragments. You can get fragments in a book. You can get fragments in a book called The Intellectual Adventures of Ancient Man. There's a part in there by a guy by the name of John H. Wilson. There's another book he has out, a book called Egyptian Culture, formerly called A Bird of Ancient Egypt, talking about how the whole 17th and 18th dynasty looked good on the outside, but it failed on the inside, all the turmoil, which would produce a doggone Akhenaten. And it talks about this, and he has it also in his book about the miserable Asiatic, low, the vile Asiatic, and all. You can get it in those books, those two books and all. Now, she talks about the goddess Segment, and this goddess is supposed to be an aggressive goddess, and she has the power to kick that behind, kick that ass. As well as Hathor. We know this with Hathor because Hathor in the papyrus, in the Chester Beatty Papyrus, there's a part where they say that there was the people of Set, or there was some people who was trying to destroy Amun-Ra and trying to destroy the land of Horus. Trying to destroy the land of Horus. And she took Hathor and told Hathor to start killing them, and Hathor was slaying them up. So this is symbolic to what's getting ready to happen with this whole U.S. She was slaying them up, and then he said, oh, that's okay. Slow down, and we just put them outside, and they're known outside of Egypt. Set's land, starting at the Sinai Peninsula. Old Moses had science all the time with the whole 10 Commandments.
Oh, yeah.
With Mount Sinai. Now, so she talks about him, and she gets, now look at this about, let me tell you how crafty these white people are. Now she talks about him, and she uses her whole article, her whole chapter on the goddess Segment, and she gets the sources from this guy here, Robert Masters. And Robert Masters is not an Egyptologist. He's over the Institute of Mind Research. Remember, most of your people that talk, they really give you the real science, are not the modern day Egyptologists. We know the brothers ain't in that. It's the psychologists, it's all kind of people in the occult that really give you the science. Now, it's ironic, but listen to this. She gets most of this from this. You know what? He doesn't even have any bibliography in his book of one person. Gerald Massey. There's only 2 white boys, Gerald Massey. And there's only 2 white boys, him and this guy here that wrote Max Tooth, that wrote Pyramid Prophecies. He uses Gerald Massey, period. Yeah. Now she writes, now in scholarship, she's inspired by him to put him in his book and dedicate the whole chapter to Segment and also to him. And he only has 1 piece of bibliography and you don't put it in here, then you understand that this doggone conspiracy that's going on. And purposely taking out the works they can liberate. And that's because this man is dropping in his books on them cycles, and he's the best person for it. On the cycles. And like I said before,
Who is this?
Gerald Massey
is the best person.
Yeah, Gerald Massey, and that's why you need to get, if you want to get the works of Gerald Massey combined into one, you get it for $16. Get Dr. Finch's book, because he has a whole section on the Kemetic calendar and the world's great year, Set worshippers, and all of that. That's the book you need to get, because Massey, Charles Finch said it took him 10 years to get through Massey, because Massey is a linguistic, so he puts everything in there because he wanted to prove it. It's so, you have to study hard to even get through. I look at a page of Massey and I have to come back and it's like reading a new page, and I come back and read that page 10 times and get something new from it. It's a lot of information. So he breaks all of that down. The book to get an understanding is Charles Finch's new book, Echoes of the Dark Land, Themes from an African Eve. And let's see.
What's your answer?
Okay, person, I want to end this off. I want to tell them a few other things that I want them to get. Number one now. Now, to talk about Dogon, we got to get, there's only a few books written, unfortunately. You got the Confessions of Okademele by M. Graou, or what's that? Marcel Graou in French. And the other one is The Pale Fox by Marcel Graou, and also G. Diderton, Germain Diderton. Unfortunately, they said in the beginning of this book, when they translated it into English in 1986, they said, we're not going to, yeah, thank you. They said, we're not going to print that many of these books, because this book has all kind of color, all types of color prints. And it's a rare book, and it was very expensive to do, and we're not going to make as many, provided we get enough, we sell enough. And obviously, we were just starting in consciousness in 1986. You know, the ASCAP was just kicking in, you know what I mean? Farrakhan is still bringing brothers in and doing their pull home, but I don't give a dog on what no niggas say. They wait. A lot of brothers in the conscious movement woke up because of Farrakhan. Now they're trying to front, because we was up in the store. I work at a store part-time over in the AU Center called Steeples. And as a result, I was able to work there, get money, and buy the research, and study for 3 years. And I didn't have to go in the corporate world and be bogged down in that foolishness. I just go to work and just get my money and go and do this. But we was in the store, and some brothers from Hemmitt was up in there, not knocking Hemmitt, because that's positive. But it was one brother, I can't think of the name. I'm not knocking the fraternity, don't get me wrong. I don't need to attack no things that's doing anything positive for black people. But brother was up in there like, yo, the brother came in and said, yo, I want to get the bean pie. And the final call. And so the brothers were looking at him like, yo, like this pseudo, you know how this pseudo information knowledge. The brother turned around and said, hey, brother, don't you attack the man that brought you into knowledge 2 years ago. So you can't front, nigga. So you see, we don't understand the cycle thing. Where you come in on a certain level and you progress into another level, you don't supposed to knock that what you came in on. That man is waking people up. 98% of the people was woke up by Farrakhan. Brother right here, I said, well, how you got in the car? He said, I woke up by Farrakhan. I know for a fact, Farrakhan touched me in 1987. I was working at the Dogon post office. The brother said, you need to come on and see Farrakhan. He said, you need to come on and see Farrakhan. He said, at the Civic Center. He said, because everybody who's seeing him, they thank me, and they go see him. And he said, I got some free tickets. Let's go. We got there because we were part of the AU Center. My roommate was the SJ president. We got on stage with him. And he dropped so hard, you understand? I ain't never been the same. You see? So we must look at the process when we talk about cycles and circular. We can't knock none of the brothers that are doing something for liberation. You see what I mean? We can't knock any of them. But anyway, they said that they weren't going to print the book, and we were just getting, so now we need this information, and this information just surfaced on the Dogon, and now the book is out of print. But we can save the day. On the front of your handouts, there's this book, which is even better. Things always work out for people of God. This book is by Robert Temple. Robert Temple has he has his information from the Dogon coming from the 2 French anthropologists that wrote The Pale Fox. But he goes in and he went in and he did the work for almost 10 years and traced it all the way back to Hemmitt. And all of the stuff is in this book, and you can get this book at Spanx Metaphysical Bookstore. The reason why I say that is because
they have it at Kuja Chandelier.
Yeah, they do too. This? Yeah. Okay, good. The reason why I say that we have to go to other places and we got to even go to the whiteboard, because we understand that our people are still ignorant. So they have to, so the shrine and the Sphinx, the shrine and the First World have to stop lots of that basic stuff that the brothers and stuff are not into. We call it kindergarten knowledge. They first coming into Kemet, coming into knowledge. They have to stop a lot of that because the people who are coming are people that's just getting woke up. And they have 3 or 4 stores. We understand that they can't get everything. But it's still no excuse, but still yet, you know. And then things take longer because black people, our cash ain't the same. But then again, we can't look at them and say, hey, you need to get this. Because we got to go and order from individual companies. When these white boys got a warehouse and they say, it'll be in on Tuesday. Right. You understand? I said, I want this book. They say, come back Tuesday and you get the book. So they have a warehouse, they ship things. So we can't get mad at black people thinking black people are lazy because they can't get things as fast as white people. White people have a warehouse. They got a warehouse on Fulton Industrial where they go and get all the metaphysical bookstores go and get the books. But you can get this book.
They're buying from white folks too.
Huh?
White folks buying from white.
And white folks buying from white folks.
Supply white people.
Fly white people. So what happened is these people, when they have to get this stuff from first world, they have to go to the individual people. You see, they have to order each book individual sometimes and then they might have a company that has a certain amount, but they have to order like that. Well, these people stock it in the warehouse. Koreans do that. We understand the whole thing with that. How they're able to get healthcare products, and you walk up in there, and you walk up in there, and you got the perm, the jerry curl, you in heaven, because they got everything you need. See, convenience is the key to America. And we understand that the people in America can't get with none of this black people because they think that technology and convenience is synonymous only to the white man. That's why they can't get it. You see. This is a book, Serious Mystery. Get this because this is one that's in print. You might can find some of these, I don't know how, but you might can find them. But this is a book, you can get a lot of the information out of this book. And like I said, this book, The Serious Mystery, it's another book you need to get because this book goes into a lot of this. She did her work and did a lot of the work based on Hermes Trismegistus. Also, we have Robert Anton Wilson. Now this puts the whole Dogon, UFO, and African thing into the New World Order, into the secret societies. He wrote this book in 1977, a year after this man came out, Robert Temple came out with his book, The Cosmic Trigger. Came out with his book, The Serious Mystery. And in the end of his book, he said, I'm pulling a cosmic trigger. I'm telling you, I'm pulling a cosmic trigger. And he went to his editor. The editor said, you believe in all this stuff? He said, I do, sir. I believe in all this stuff. I have studied this stuff for the last 10 years, and these people know what they're talking about. It's just that we don't believe it, because he's building buildings downtown, because he knows it's true. So he wrote the book a year after that, and this book goes into the secret society, and he wrote, Robert Anton Wilson was smart. In the 70s, nobody wasn't talking about this, so he had to write this stuff in novel form. But he has an index in this, and he also has a bibliography, and he has a table of contents, so it's not just a regular novel. And there's a part in here where there's a guy by the name of, I'm going to get his name, Antonin Artaud. From the 1920s, he was a playwright that had a vision one night and had a dream, and he dreamed of all of us getting ready to happen. He dreamed of it. He said that something came and stripped his clothes off and he was on fire. He'd have running down the street talking about, it's serious, it's serious, it's serious. And there's a play, and there's a group, a young intelligentsia group in Paris that has his play, they study his play, and they act out his play, and they worship him as Jesus Christ. You see what I'm saying? Sister here, my longtime colleague and all, and a significant other, Kimberly Meadow, she has a master's degree in French, and she teaches at Spelman. So the white boy, up in where?
Well, at Tulane University.
At Tulane University, got in touch with her and said he specialized in the works of this guy, so we got access to that. You see? And he has a book out, right? Of the works of that guy, so we got access to that type of stuff. Now, the reason why I'm not scared is because of this. Why you say, aren't you scared because of this? Let me tell you something about the government. The government ain't into killing nobody no more, because if you kill it, you're going to validate everything I say. And we know that black people's validation comes from the TV set. So all the white man got to do is just keep you off TV set, and your people ain't going to believe it anyway. And the few people in here don't constitute for the masses, but we the nucleus. And the masses follow the nucleus. But they know that if they don't put it on TV, most of the people that they want to kill off in the next couple of years, they ain't going to even get with it. You understand what I'm saying? So they don't even worry about it. That's why Bill Cooper and Steve Coker, these people can travel all around and the beats don't even come to them for one reason. They know that the masses of the people ain't gonna believe it until the white man documents it. You know, till the shit hit the fan. You understand? When the white man say, listen, we are killing you people on TV, then they'll say, guess what? The white man killing us. And us brothers in consciousness been saying it 10 years before them, and half of them dead. That's the whole thing with the AIDS thing. You see? So, we understand, so this is the reason why they can say this, because the government now, and guess what? It's too late now. The government already got his New World Order in place. We don't give a damn what you think. Because when you start, cause he wants you to say, hey, we ready to fight you because you are killing us, so he can impose martial law. Remember, he's kicking you in the butt saying, come on, I dare you so I can bring out the King Alfred plan.
Well, you know, Sam Nunn, they just had an article in the paper just to mention that, in line of that. Sam Nunn, who's chairman of the Armed Services Committee, just recommended that the military be used since the communist threat is no more, since the Cold War is over. Then what is it for the military to do? So we use them in community services, since they've got the training to set up field hospitals and so forth. Use them in the communities to get the inner city problems straightened out. So what you're going to find is that they will ease in the name of helping you out and set up command posts, and you'll get used to them.
That's right.
All right?
And it imposes martial law. Check this out.
Right, martial law there.
Now I want you to write this down, because there's a few things we need to be doing for the year 2000. I want you to write this down. His name is, you know, Bill Cooper, the guy that, Bill. He has a hotline number, and the number is it's 310. Write it down. 281-8222. And when you call, he said, hey, here's the deal, and he starts talking.
About 4 minutes.
He said that the what's that? Czechoslovakia, what's that? Yugoslavia war.
Serbian war.
That's a
Serbian war, they're going to ship our troops over there. Then they're going to ship Russian troops over here for martial law, because they know that even white people ain't going to be down in the service as well as black people ain't going to be down with their people being under martial law. But they got to get a person that's alien to us, which is the Russians. They're going to ship them over.
Which don't speak your language, so therefore.
Which don't care. But he has new knowledge each week, and you can call the number. Well, I mean, like they say, you call the number and speak to Betty Jo about her boyfriend down the street, way in down California, and run up a phone bill for 2 hours. I know you could at least call this here for like $1 or $2.
310-281.
310-281-8222. That's Bill Cooper's hotline. Now, I want to say some things. I want to narrow this down to some things I got to say. Now, look at this. They said that in this book, he said that he used to follow, he is a student, Robert Anton Wilson, of this guy, called Aleister Crowley. And Aleister Crowley, on the back of his book, this book is called Eye on the Triangle. Remember I talked about that? Robert Anton Wilson called it Eye on the Pyramid. In this book, The Confessions of Aleister Crowley, by Kenneth Grant and John Simmons, who did the work of a combination of works of his after he died. In this book on the back, he said, hey, I'm Aleister Crowley, and I am the beast. 666. I call myself the damn beast. No, right in the front, look. Aleister Crowley, who called himself the beast. 666. And he was into Kemet. And this guy said that Aleister Crowley, it said that the European can get in touch with the people of Sirius, the power structure, and they know what's going on. I've even heard things where they even tried to buy some time and tried to make a deal. People say no. They said that Aleister Crowley, in his book, he said that Aleister Crowley used to could contact Sirius. See, Sirius, the Sirius constellation is a,
I was just going to just add to that, validate that he could, and the reports I got, he was a part of the secret government that sat on, they were like the permanent government who dealt with all the high technology and the connection with the occult realm. And so I just validated.
That's good, and it's interesting. He said that before they could have a high technology, they used to contact them through the lodge. And he got his petition and got his thing in Scottish Rite from Sir John Yarker, who was 96 degrees. And he has a shrine, he has some people, he even got some brothers in this Masonic order in Detroit and other places, it's 96 degrees.
Right. That's the right of measuring.
Measuring, I mean, and also they call it the right of Memphis too. It's something like that. And Sir John Yarker did this. Now check this out. Check this out. So he said that he used to get in touch, and the reason how he even started getting into all of this stuff and started having all these premonitions is because he was the student of Aleister Crowley. He used to study the works. This guy died in like 1940s, in the 1940s. But look, 1945 as a matter of fact. But listen, Sirius, the planet Sirius, which is called a dog star, it is adjacent to the Earth July 23rd to September 7th. That is called dog days. See Anubis? See Anubis bring that up? Anubis, that's why it's called the dog days. And this is the original way you get dog days. And in dog days, all kind of people have these out-of-body experiences. But based on what level you are spiritually, or whether you're in the spookism, you think it's Jesus Christ and all this type of stuff. And you don't understand what it really is. I got a friend named Maddox Moore that was the SDA president at Clark College, had an out-of-body experience for a whole week in 1980. And all kinds of things happened. He's saying he saw it, and based upon that, he was in theology school at Hemmitt. So whatever level you on, you thinking you see in whatever person that you into. You understand? But if you're in the right thing, if you're in the right, on the right level, then you can gonna find out what the deal is. You understand what I mean? So we know that they used to do this through the lodge because you can get a book, you can get a movie, rent the video. When Peggy Sue got married, what's my woman's name? Peggy Sue got married. She played in The Water Roses. Kathleen Turner. Get that movie. It's a Back to the Future type movie, and it really goes into her life, what she would have done with her boyfriend and all this if she would have gone over. But she went back into the future. And she noticed some things that went wrong with her relationship because she had a bad relationship in the future. But she met her grandfather, who is now dead in the future, but still living, and he's able to see her as an adult because she's come back to the future. And at the end of the movie, you gotta get the movie, say, come time to go home. He put on his Masonic cap, his apron, and all of that, march her down to the lodge. Tap 3 times, whatever. They tap the gatekeeper. They march her into the lodge. They all in a circle. They all geared up in their stuff. They do a ritual and send her back into the future. See, the man puts science in all of his movies. And based upon the level that you own, he always puts science in his movies. You understand? That apron represents, this is a picture of this apron right here in where's the lid? C.W. Ledbetter. He has a book I call Ancient Mystic Rites. You can get that book, but this is a book I helped research that print all the massive stuff. This is the book that's out of print. Now he says the Egyptians were white, our white brothers and sisters. But we don't, like I say, take the European back with a grain of salt. But in here, it shows you right here the Egyptian apron that they patterned the Masonic apron after. And if you look at Michael Jackson on his video, his old ignorant, stupid behind, this is the apron that so-called whoever was doing it for him, because he doesn't know this, gave him an apron. It's the same apron that Ramses wore. And this is the Egyptian apron. It has the caduceus right here, the snakes. And it has your cartouche right up top, or your chenille. This is the apron. That's when you see that thing that looks like a pyramid in some of the pyramids. That's the Masonic apron. You see. So they know what the deal is going on, and he puts everything in his movies. There's 3 movies, that's some movies you need to get. You need to get They Live by John Carpenter. If you hadn't gotten that movie is about some aliens slipped in, and subliminally, just like the white man, they're using everything. They're using everything for a commercial gain. Right? And so you can only see what's going on and see the real people if you put on these shades. The shades represent consciousness. Everybody looks the same. That's like everybody's going, all white people, everybody. Yeah, nigga, everybody. Don't know who the devil is. But when you put on these shades, it represents, and you see the aliens walking down right beside the people in suits. They, walking down with the people in suits. And then you look up behind, there might be a hamburger on the sign for McDonald's, and you put on the shades that say, this is your God, on the billboards. Or it might be some type of candy or some type of commercial device, whatever that they're selling in the capitalistic state. And it says, buy me. Subliminal seduction. You understand what I'm saying? Right. There's a group that's a liberation group. Now, none of these are white people, so they put white people to play out these roles. There's a liberation group that's in our church with a real going, and they got the spirituals going on, and they're under there making the shades and giving them to the people. That's us with these books, giving them to our people. You understand? And check this out, and on the church, and when you go in the church, I got a picture of Booker T. Washington up there. That's symbolic to say that we passing niggas. You gotta look at stuff like that. But he has a black friend, the same dude that played in Platoon, and in a couple other movies. He's in the movie, and check this out. The white guy, Roddy Piper, plays the white guy that found out about the shades. And tried to give them to his good friend, the black guy. And the black guy don't want to try him on it. He got to literally whip this nigga's behind and get him to try on the shades. That's us out here. You know how it is with the conscious people. We come in and we try to tell our brother stuff and they don't want to hear it. The movie, this man tells everything in his movie. There's another movie you need to get called Handmaid's Tale.
Yo.
This movie talks about the barcode. They say go to the store, they pulling out all kinds of, because there's a book called When Your Money Fails. They're getting ready to get rid of the currency. And have go to a debit card system. That's the mark of the beast. That barcode. And the movie, on the beginning of the movie, when the movie came out, I remember it was in the newspaper because me and Kendall was going to see it was playing at the LaFont Terror. And most Negroes don't go out there. And the ones who do go out there, they ain't got nothing on their mind. But they wouldn't show it at Lennox or CNN Center. We went, and I remember this, and the movie, when it first come on, they trick you because the credits coming on, they got pictures of the government marching black people on trucks, shipping them out of America. Marching them, putting them on trucks like cattle, and ship them out of the river. They call them the children of Canaan. And ain't no doggone brothers with no gold teeth and no red jerry curl. It's brothers with suits on. Armani's brother with Armani suits on, in fades. They telling you a message in the whole movie. And in the movie, when the news is on, it's always a pyramid flashing. Remember, any pyramidal structure is Illuminati and all of this. And at the end of the movie, they got these people that take over the revolutionary groups, and they say, don't worry about it. We will find these revolutionary groups, and we will destroy them. And then the sign comes up. The sign is in the corner that's twisting around, comes up and comes to the middle of the stream, a big pyramid in a circle. Letting you know at the end of the movie, this is what time it is. That's a movie you need to get. Another movie you need to get, we was talking about this today as a classic, is The Planet of the Apes. Number one. Get the movie Planet of the Apes, number one. Because the apes are symbolic of the white people, and the white people are symbolic to us.
On the movie Planet of the Apes, you know, it has a very interesting history, the way that was made from a French student's doctoral dissertation. And what it was that he was writing about black slaves, all right, who was doing all the work. Everything that was done to build up the empire was done by black people. And so they came among themselves and said, look, we're doing everything. All they're doing is kicking back. They don't know how to do anything. We are the mechanics, we are the farmers, we are everything. Let's take over. Okay. So they came together and took over. But when the crackers went there and read the dissertation and wanted to adopt it and make it a movie, they couldn't make the apes. I mean, they couldn't show black people doing that. Black folks show that. That give you ideas and you start talking. So they made the black people apes.
Right. And see, you know the funny thing about it? We was talking to a brother and he said, nah, you just reading too many things into the movies. We said, man, this man here, now in this day and age, and for the last 30-some years, Hollywood is owned by the secret societies. They own the TV and the movies, and everything is thought up.
Well, it always has been, because when you look at it.
Jews. Yeah, but see, it's another key you got to understand, because there's a smoke screen going on in there. I used to think so too, but in this new stuff we got on the secret societies, they say that's a smoke screen. They want a lot of people to get caught up in saying it's the Jews. It's white people, period.
Period.
Well, that's so-called.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
See, what they made is that for Jew to be synonymous with a race when it's not.
It's not.
But then when you look at when it started, like Dr. Clark said, was when the Moors gave charge of the mind sciences to the Jews. And ever since then, between Sigmund Freud, Karl Marx, and Sigmund Freud, Karl Marx, and Einstein, they rule the world through the mind.
Through the mind, this tricknology.
And that's when it started. When they let them have control of the mind sciences.
And you can get all you want to know on this European Jew coming into view in Arthur Koestler's work, The 13 Tribes. It tells you the whole thing on this European Jew. He has nothing to do with the historical Hebrew at all.
Wait, I want to say something to you too. When you talk about the New World Order, you know who's the founder of the New World Order? Who's the boss of the New World Order? Of the Illuminati, and that's no other than the Rothschild.
Yeah, he financed it.
And
And Sir John Whitehead was the person.
But I'm saying,
Yeah, right.
when you talk about
Yeah.
the Zionists, who financed the Zionists?
Yeah, but see, I'm saying they're all in cahoots together. I'm not saying that the Jew don't have his fundamental part. I would just say that.
I said
Right,
so-called
so-called
Jew.
I
You
said
understand what I'm saying? So then, and another thing I want to do with your dissertation too, you speak about Chicago. University of Chicago. The University of Chicago, you know who's owned by?
Jew.
No.
No.
The Rockefeller family.
Oh yeah, well, right.
The on the application, it says Rockefeller family.
We know that as far as the University of Chicago is run by it, yes.
They own the University of Chicago. They own Argonne National Laboratory. That's where you talk about genetic engineering.
Right.
Genetic engineering was going on there at the same time that they were doing what we call where they make apples grow as big as you are.
Yeah, and you know it's a funny thing. It's a funny thing. They said that what's my man Renoka Rashidi said that James Hemmitt Preston when he first came there, and he was asked to come and start the Oriental Institute. The first books were some children's books. He put black people in the books, dark brown people, kind of medium brown people. And the Rockefellers came in and say, no, I don't do no shit like that. And then right after that, all the stuff was white started coming in. And it's interesting about the Planet of the Apes. In the Planet of the Apes, there's a few people knew what really went on. And when Charlton Heston rides out of the Planet of the Apes, they said, what do you think he'll find out there? He said he'll find his own destiny. Because before then, he thought he was on another planet. And when he got up and he saw the Statue of Liberty, he started hollering. That's the same thing with us in Kemet. They said you don't need to go to the Forbidden Land, that's Kemet. They let you know that you had a high-tech civilization too. Yep. You see what I mean? High-tech. And we know, and the guy was arguing about saying, hey, they don't do this. It doesn't necessarily be that. You read into that. I said, well, doggone. I knew, looking at the movie, when I saw it as a little boy, they said a good ape is a dead ape. No, the only good human is a dead human. Only good nigga is a dead nigga. Now, they don't, certain things just don't come up in.
But look at the words. See, we have to deal with words. Say the only good human is a dead human. Hue means color. Man of color.
That's why I say I don't ever use white people when you explaining that Planet Apes. You got to say it was the apes and the humans.
Right, apes and humans, right.
Now you look at the apes. They say the ape is about 6,000 years old, and through anthropology, you say the European is about 6,000 years old.
You see.
And how did the humans come back to
because
save
we
their
know
family?